Hey guys, welcome to the Farm Sketch, and I'm here with my wife Danielle. So on today's video, we're going to discuss our top tips on how we got our farm loan.
So all the tips that we run through in this video will list at the very end as well, so you can screenshot it. So tip number one is aim for near perfect credit checks. The banks are very reluctant to give out hobby farm loans just because there's not a lot of money in it for them. If you can save up a 20% deposit minimum, that'll give you the best chance to get across the line. Compared to getting a loan for a property in the city, it's a lot harder to get a hobby farm loan. Banks just don't want to take the risks. So the more deposit you can get, the more savings you can have, the better chance it will be for you. It's also good if you can have all your other checks and balances in place, such as having a full-time job. They don't like the casual status. So if you can get your casual status changed to full-time, that will also be a plus. Make sure you can service the loan amount. So however much you're borrowing, of course, you want to be able to afford the repayments. And of course, just like applying for any mortgage, you just need to have all your income verification done. So things like your tax returns, have all your credit information ready, have good credit, try and get rid of your credit card debt. Take into consideration any personal loans you have or card loans, because all your repayments for those will be taken into consideration whether you can service a loan. So overall, banks can be super reluctant to give out hobby farm loans in comparison to, buying a property in the city. They just don't think that there's like a great return on them. If you can't service the loan and they need to repossess your land, they want to know that they can make money off it and they're not going to lose money. So having that 20% deposit, that looks better in the bank's eyes. You won't need mortgage insurance, and you're more likely to be granted the loan with 20% or more in the bank.
So tip number two is be aware of the land size.
When applying for your hobby farm loan, another thing the banks want to know is how big your land size or how big the farm land size will be. Typically, banks say that they won't lend to people who are applying for farms over 20 acres, and a lot of hobby farm loans are now quite small at that 5-acre range. So when we were applying for our farm loan, another thing a bank wanted to know was how big this land was going to be. Typically, they say that they won't lend out money for farms bigger than 20 acres. Anything above 20 acres, they actually start pushing for a commercial farm loan. That
means that you got to pay more interest on the loan, and there would be different condition attached to a commercial loan compared to a normal loan that we're trying to achieve.
A lot of hobby farm loans are now like for 5-acre lots, and when we were wanting to buy a farm, our original goal was to get a farm for 100 acres because we were looking long term in trying to run cattle on the farm. So we wanted to get as much as possible for a smaller amount of money than like trying to get a big giant commercial farm loan with lots of land. So 100 acres was a little bit too big in the eyes of the banks, but we were lucky enough that we were able to push to get our 63 acres across the line with the banks.
So tip number three is finding a farm that is close to town.
So another thing the bank asked for was, in regards to the land we wanted to buy, how close was it to a town? They wanted to know how big the population was, because they had some minimum requirements. Some banks told us they needed a population of 3,000 within the general area of where we were looking. Some banks said they want a minimum of 5,000 people. So basically they're just trying to say that they don't want you buying property that's sort of in the middle of nowhere. For Australia, there's a lot of farming towns like out in the middle of nowhere. But nowadays, to get that loan passed, especially for a hobby farm, they want it to be relatively close to a town.
So the town itself, it's got to have a shopping centre, hospitals, police, courts. They're all the things that the banks look for in lending out their loans.
Because they have a checklist. So having a town with as many amenities as possible will also boost your application. Another main thing that you wouldn't think they would consider, but is also part of their checklist, is making sure that there are main roads, not too many dirt roads going to the farm, named creeks, and named main roads on the way to the farm. That all just signals to them that it's not too far out in like the middle of nowhere, and that also relates back to the property being able to maintain its value, which means a better return for them if ever they need to repossess it off you. So our last and most crucial tip would be to find an experienced broker that is familiar with getting loans in the area you want to buy your farm. So when we initially applied for a hobby farm loan, we had found our dream farm and we wanted to get the loan for it. And our first mistake was actually, we got recommended a broker by a friend who was very, very successful at getting mortgages for buyers in Sydney. He did disclose to us that he had never done a hobby farm loan or a farm loan at all, rural loan at all. And that was our first mistake. We did not listen to that red flag and we went with him anyway. Of course, he didn't really fight for us the way we needed to during the loan process or the pre-approval process. And we ended up getting knocked back. A lot of it came down to the banks just not wanting to give out the hobby farm loans and being super, super strict on their criteria, that checklist that we were talking about before. We had everything perfect. All our credit scores were perfect. We had the full-time status. We had well over a 50% worth of savings of the farm price, purchase price, and it just still wasn't good enough. So we ended up mentioning to some of the real estate agents in the area that we were trying to buy, and they had recommended us a really good broker who'd got through a number of sales with them. And a lot of these people had also been Sydney-siders or people out of town wanting to come and buy into the town. So we contacted the broker that was recommended to us for the second time around for our second application. And she had also just recently bought a hobby farm herself in the same area we were looking at. So she knew exactly what the banks were looking for, what options were out there, and how to get the loan across the line. It would have been near impossible to do it ourselves if we were just trying to apply for pre-approval without using an experienced broker. So of course, not just any broker, because we didn't get through with the first one, but an experienced broker who was familiar with purchasing, doing farm purchases in the area.
Yeah.
So before we went to this broker, a lot of people had been telling us, you're not going to get the farm loan. The land is too big. They'll want you to have like the full amount, or they'll want you to do a business farm loan or a commercial farm loan. And just so many people are saying it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. And so the main thing that was out of our control that helped us get over the line was that experienced broker. So I recommend that whatever area you are looking at buying a farm, ask the real estate agents who are some good brokers in the area that they have been working with, and try and go from there. And if you get knocked back, just try again and see if you can correct anything that the banks have found issue with. So those are the main things that the banks are looking for when you're applying for a hobby farm loan. And we've learned that everyone's farm application process will be different. It'll be different based on where you want to buy, what state you're in, what the market, the real estate market is like at the time. All we can say is just give it a go, because if we didn't try when everyone was telling us no, we wouldn't have our farm. And now we have the farm that we've always wanted. So we hope this has helped.
And hopefully this video, quick information video, has helped you. All right, let me start again.
We hope this video has helped you.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
We hope this...
Let me say
I was going to just say it.
So we hope that this video helped you in getting your loan for your hobby farm. So please don't forget to like and subscribe and comment on any of those topics that we discuss, and we try to answer those questions for you. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.